What's funny is we've had friends that shit on us kind of implicitly about our lifestyles, what we're doing, why the fuck we're this crazy. Like, they almost don't want to be around us because it's just, it's so crazy.
We've been described as unstable.
Right.
Yeah.
And, man.
Welcome back to the Smart Nonsense Podcast.
Got it again!
Where we talk about Alex Cooper, entrepreneurship, self-development, and challenging norms.
Yes,
Are we recording?
sir.
Are we here? Are we in the studio?
So. Let me look. Wow, I definitely peaked there. I'm sorry, earballs. Belky.
I don't know where we've been.
We don't.
I do.
This is the jankest the setup's ever looked. We do have a rim light.
Our third camera, we don't have a tripod, so it's on a sewing table with a stack of 2 crates. We got a rim light. It's looking good. What are we talking about today?
God damn, it's been weeks.
That's what we're talking about.
Remember we had that rule, like, you got to go every week. You can't miss a week. We missed some weeks. We got some splaining to do.
We missed 3 weeks?
Probably. I don't even remember. We ain't got no editors, so it's going to be like...
It's a new dialect you got. We ain't got no editors.
I can't find the middle ground. I really can't.
Let's talk about today where we've been, how we got here, how... I think we've been holding off on this episode because we're notorious for jinxing things.
Hey, we got a lot of crazy shit going on. We don't want to spook it, and we might spook it with this episode because there are no signatures anywhere. There's no proof of anything, no money in bank accounts.
That is how we like it.
But it closed.
No revenue. I think was the last time we were on here with Ian? No revenue episode?
Probably.
Oh yeah, because that was actually the episode
that
you
mofo,
used
you think
to
we can
sell.
Can we say like anything about him?
About Ian?
Like...
Oh, for sure. He's like one of 5 listeners.
But can we say like...
Since he came on the Smart Nonsense Podcast, he's a proud McLaren owner.
That shit's crazy.
Thanks
I still
to
don't
us.
fully understand what the hell happened, but somehow Uniswap, his company, has Unitokens, and some other company wanted to pipe up their little platform, so they're like, everyone with a Unitoken gets hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know what the hell it was, but they got a lot
I think
of
it was
dough.
everyone with a Unitoken, like you get $1,000 to try our platform, or 100. Now the Uniswap employees happen to have a lot of Unitokens, and so he bought a McLaren. That's the kind of thing that happens when you come on Smart Nonsense. You come on Smart Nonsense, you talk through things, you become a better person.
Where would Ian be without us?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
He'd probably be at like...
Way higher. We need to have updates from people that have gone through the Smart Nonsense ecosystem. He's the only successful one.
Ice is doing all right, but we about to crush him.
Okay, so let's run it back. I think we need to start by talking about the lion mentality.
Oh, what the...
Like, we're recording different
I
episodes.
haven't heard about this. The Mamba.
I mean how you work.
Me?
Yes. Think about it, right? I think this comes from Naval. The fact that like human beings should not be working 9 to 5. Human beings shouldn't specialize. Specialization is for insects.
I thought you were going to say incels.
It's for those two. You know a lot about that. Excuse me. We'll get there.
Got a date tonight.
Do you now?
Yes, sir.
We're not going to talk about anything this podcast. It's going to end up being the best
This
one.
is actually a really good podcast.
I know.
Like the updates are actually insane.
This is like the validation of everything Smart Nonsense elected to be, you know, when we jumped off that
Right.
cliff in
Whoever
June.
was listening to us for advice back in the day, you're fucking stupid. But now you can actually listen to us because there's some proof.
Story brand. We're teasing them. Wait till the end of this podcast. There's going to be some proof. So the lion mentality.
Yeah. What we got?
Human beings are not meant to work 9 to 5. You, Dylan, are not meant to work by God 9 to 5. You don't do that.
9 p.m. to 5 a.m., baby.
Sure, whatever you got to do. But the lion mentality is basically like, you should just be sleeping in the sun all day. You should be thinking about your moves. You should be, you know, saving up the energy. Because when the hyena comes sprinting across the savannah. There's no hyenas in the Sahara.
They all died. Hey, that used to be a rainforest.
The Sahara?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think you said that once. I didn't believe you.
Yeah.
I usually never believe
Do we
you,
want to
but
go
you're
on a
almost.
tangent? There's this guy. He's what the fuck's his name? I don't know. He started like Reddit or some crazy shit. He's like, how do we fix climate change? Well, we got to take a lot of the CO2 out of the atmosphere. Well, we need a lot of trees to do that. How do we get a lot of trees? Well, let's just turn the deserts back into rainforests. Because a while ago they were hopping, they were popping. But then some little shift in the ecosystem happens and they start drying out, and then it's just this cascading feedback. Yeah. So you get a couple trees in there and that shit start blooming.
We should do that on a Friday episode. The explain it to me like I'm 5. That's what we should do with that.
Hey, that's
Deep
why I
dive
got a
on that.
notebook.
Okay, so the lion mentality is like, when there's food, you strike. When there's an opportunity, you strike. But the rest of the time, you're building your skill set toolbox. You're maintaining your energy. You're getting ready. You're sleeping. You're resting. A lot of people just graze, right? They're cows, and humans weren't meant to graze. They're not just like tapping away at the keys all day long in the office. Mm-hmm. You got to sprint as a lion, and then rest a lot.
Yeah. So that's going back to Ice in episode 21.
Call him out.
He doesn't listen anymore.
She would not like that. She would probably call me every 30 minutes.
So 21, that's when he came on, or 20, I forget. But he was talking about how I'm just sleeping in my bed all day, just reading books. And he's out there like pretending to do work. He's actually doing work, but like pretending to do deep work on his computer. And he's just shitting all over me. But just wait, because the lion's sleeping, the lion resting. He's waiting. And then boom, we build a system for Smart Nonsense. It runs super well. And then we're like, this person, I don't know if I'll ever say his name, dating coach is like, oh, I like that system. Let me get it. And then we evolve to the next step. It's basically, we're getting into this evolution where it's not like the steady improvements where Ice right now, he's making a lot of money. He's making a lot more. And he's on a trend, but it's pretty linear. Like it's like in 2 years, I'll make a couple 100,000 more, and a few years after that, a couple
I'll
100,000
become partner,
more. And it's this very predictable, steady slope, and people like that. He likes that. I think that works well for him.
Yeah, right. We shouldn't knock that. Like that's for most people.
Right.
That's for 90% of people.
Yeah, the world would be crazy if everyone was a crackhead like us. But
yeah,
what happens is we're
wouldn't
under the radar.
We wouldn't have doctors to go to. We wouldn't have lawyers to do the important paperwork. Or accountants to freaking keep track of.
There's a lot of shit. So we need them. But for the people with that drive, that inner drive, which some people have it, some don't. And we kind of, we see the
you got to watch this on YouTube. You got to get on YouTube.
One of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we can't put words to the actions, you just look for we're seeing this, apparently.
There's some word for like pressure, whatever. Pressure. You need the pressure. And then you just see what the fuck happens. And right now, we had the pressure. I think we're performing. But it's just, you just level the fuck up. You go up 5 levels. You go up 10 levels. You can make unlimited amount of money in a year. It's not linear at all, which is exciting. It's fucking crazy, especially when you start seeing some progress.
Yeah. Okay. Let's stop being so cryptic. Mm-hmm. I think, what do we do? Do we go back to day one of Smart Nonsense? Which was like... You left your job.
Okay.
Right? You're like, I just want to do this thing because I think it would make me happy. I think it would be fun. Call up Henry. He's like, sure, I'll do it. And
actually, Binky
was the first call.
No, I think Binky gave me the idea to do the pod. And I'm like, Binky, let's do this shit. But he couldn't figure out his computer microphone. So I'm like, all right, Binky, you can't figure it out. I'm going to call Henry.
The parallel universe. So much would be different right now if he got his microphone to work.
Dude, I can't even imagine. Literally, I would have recorded with him that day if his microphone worked, but he didn't, and then he just took too long to get a microphone. So I'm like, all right, I'm fucking excited. Let's shoot this thing.
That's awesome. So, okay, you're like, I'm just going to basically jump into the field and take it a day at a time and see what comes. But your system's king, right? So just cascaded.
Because I'm lazy. Everyone knows I'm lazy, and... if anyone's
smart lazy.
Okay.
Smart lazy.
Yeah. Smart lazy. So we're like, all right, let's build a team around us to help us out and keep us motivated. I think that's massively important. We're finding out more and more. But we get Erica. She comes on, helps. Ken, he helps with editing the content. Then he kind of migrated over to you. Yeah, I said,
Ken is so good at what he does. He has to be mine selfishly.
Right. But then he might circle back. Well, we're going to see what happens. But we just kind of build the system. We have a couple other, like Kay is helping out with a lot of the show notes, everything you see on the website, etc. And so we just build this team and we start just kind of innovation stacking this of like every month or so, we're just adding a new little innovation to our podcast and a way to level up in a new way. And then very quickly, because most people, and we talked about this before, they just stop learning. They just coast. They're like, this is good enough. I'm just happy. I'm complacent.
I'm going to specialize.
Right.
That's what it is.
So we just keep leveling up each time. And obviously, if you're watching the pod right now, it looks pretty good. It could look better. And I mean, we got some budget room now. Maybe we get a little couch or something. But
easy with the dialect. I'm going to call you out.
Please, so no one else does. All right. So it's funny because sometimes I swear a lot on the podcast. Sometimes I talk like
it's subconscious.
I don't know what it is. But regardless, we keep leveling up. And I think
bumpkin.
Very quickly, we see there's a lot of people that are over 30 that just don't want to learn this stuff. They're like, we'll pay you a lot of money. Just figure it out for us. And that's what we're finding. I don't know. We're being super cryptic. Maybe we just get into
we're trying to condense 9 months of day-to-day innovation stack, right? Do one thing, now what? Do another thing, now what? And we're trying to button it up into 30 minutes, which is hard.
Right.
But essentially what happens is you left your job, you develop all these skills, we create the podcast becomes proof of work. And it shows people who want to do similar things the value in your system. Right? Like Alex Cooper, for instance, on Call Her Daddy, does everything herself. So she can only shoot once a week. Like, it's just not sustainable.
Right.
I'm like, I could daily vlog forever because I film for 20 minutes a day and then it's on YouTube the next morning.
So basically, I don't know exactly where it starts. I'm just going to claim this is the origin of My First Million. But basically, there's this guy, Nick Gray, who I want to have on the podcast. I've been talking to him. But he had his own startup in New York. I met him. I don't want to say how I met him, but I met him in New York, and I saw on one of his stories, he's like, oh, just met this guy, Sam Parr, in New York. And I'm like, all right, who's Sam Parr? I started investigating. Next thing I know, I'm like, oh, Sam Parr has a podcast. I started listening to My First Million. I'm like, oh, this podcast is really fucking good.
It is really
good. For
good.
entrepreneurs, it's our crack. It's our fucking, it's just like the entrepreneur just loves that shit because it's just business idea after business idea.
And it's really tangible business ideas. It's business ideas you can make $1,000 on next week. No problem.
If you really cared.
Yeah.
And I think what's cool is it's just a community of people that are really engaged in this, and it's hard to find. Like, there aren't that many people like us, but everyone's listening to it. They're like Facebook groups. Everyone's involved. So Henry kind of got turned on to it too after I shot him an episode, a couple of those. And so we've just been listening for almost a year, or at least 6 months or so. And I've always been thinking when I listen, because we're kind of building our own system, I'm like, if there's ever a podcast that needs video, it's this one. Because they're constantly like, check out this website. They're doing crazy things. It's a new startup company, and you're trying to envision what they're doing, but a lot of the time you're like, I really can't picture it.
And they're just name dropping
right.
and like explaining people.
Right. There's a lot of people, a lot of things getting thrown out into the ether. But they finally start to crack. And they used to have some pod video back in the day, but then COVID happened and they went remote and just dropped the video. So now.
And they're so labor intensive, right? Like it would take probably I don't know what it would take from like a US workforce, but it's really labor intensive.
What is?
Doing a proper good video podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Or being the best video podcast.
I mean, what's beautiful, and I think because COVID has been the best year of my life, hands down. Which I think it's one of those cases of like,
I think it's either the best or the worst.
Right. You either seized the opportunity or you didn't. We seized it. And there's a lot of people then, like, we can now take what someone would edit in person, and now they have to upload it online. And now there's no distinction between an editor in the US and one abroad, because they both have to access the same drives online, which can be anywhere. So beautiful world we're living in. And guess what? Recently, Sam, he has The Hustle, which is this massive email list, and they also have trends, and they're making millions of dollars a year. HubSpot, which is this big it's like a marketing and like, basically if you're a small business, they do everything for you for like CRM, customer
Right.
client,
20 some odd $billion company. CRM.
customer relationship management. Yeah. Okay, I forgot what that is.
Public company.
I should probably get to know that. But whatever, they basically help small businesses, especially online, do their marketing, etc. So they want to, they're basically like the big corporation that worth $20+ billion, but they want to appeal to everyday people because they're super corporate. And so they're like, the hustle, that's all these cool business ideas, and it's kind of like the podcast, but it has this like, just, they talk like real humans. Mm-hmm. So like, we want to be more personable, and so they buy the hustle. And we hear this because we're listening to the podcast. We're getting the updates every single week because once the episode drops, we both listen immediately. Henry has his walks pretty much every morning. I'd listen to, and
that's a good level of detail. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what we needed. So we're like in my head, it's starting to brew. It's like, oh wait, all right, they just got bought. HubSpot's trying to improve their outreach, their growth.
Do I smell a hyena?
So we're getting excited, but like we're just letting it brew. We're like, okay, we haven't heard anything. We're not going to launch into action yet.
But we're like putting out some feelers, not very good ones, but I think we were. Maybe not.
I don't know if we really had many feelers. I remember that
we were starting to interact with them on Twitter. No, we weren't.
I don't think we.
No, we weren't.
Went from 0 to 60 like that.
0 to 60.
So basically, they have this HubSpot guy come on. They talk about the deal. They talk about their goals is to just ramp up all the podcasts, all of their video content, and we're like, holy fuck, this could be something crazy.
Yes, could be something crazy. However, they were putzing.
Right.
Sam. You're probably not watching this, but Sam on Twitter is just talking about this for a month, 2 months. He's like, we need better video. We need, who's going to come set up my studio? Who's going to hook us up? What gear do we need? And now we're like,
hyenas. So
do I smell the mashup of the podcast set builder and the systems engineer? Is that what I smell in the savannah?
There's potential brewing.
And so excited.
So we're seeing all these Twitter posts go out, and he's like, yo, who the fuck gonna help me?
Yeah.
Let me get some help. And no one's really popping. It's kind of like we still didn't jump into action yet, except for this one boy.
And there was a lot of like analysis paralysis. Tons of people were flooding Sam like, this is what you need. This is what you need to do.
Right.
I'll do it for $5,000. I'll come to Austin. It was a lot.
He got a lot of these lists of exactly what he needs to do. But remember, people are busy. He just sold his company. He doesn't want to fucking go out and buy all this shit himself and set it up. You want that turnkey, here's out of the box solution. But
it's Sunday.
We still weren't going to do it. We weren't going to do it until we saw our boy, Mark Henderson.
I was just realizing we never talked to Mark. Mark is supposed to be on this episode. Oops, I'm spitting everywhere. Yeah, okay, so now this small guy who's about our size on Twitter hits
about 5'10", 180.
Hits up Shaan and Sam and is like, I'll do it for $2,000. I'll come down to Austin this weekend. And they both entertain it.
Right. It's rare to see online something where if Shaan posts, because they both have, like Shaan's at like 130,000, Sam's about half that. So they're getting a lot of interactions any post they have. But then Belky somehow stumbles across this little post
thread.
And they're like, wait, no one's liking this, but Sam and Shaan are interacting with it.
Seriously. I smelt it. So it's Sunday and I'm like, I hop in. I roll up my sleeves, I hop in, I start a little auction. I'm like, screw you, Mark, I'll do it for $1,700. Something. Dylan hops in. He's like, 2 for 1. I'll build you a system, automate this thing so you never have to touch it, and it just cranks for itself, the content machine. And then we faked a couple things. Yeah. This is where we got really crafty.
We got their attention. I forget exactly how it happens, but basically he's like, I can't tell if you're serious. Like that's the main idea.
Right. I think what we realized is there's a lot of noise. A lot of people are talking. I feel like I had put out some feelers or something, but we were like, we looked at each other. We were like, we got to go crazy on this. We've got to lean in hard.
Well, yeah, because we were like, okay, no, this is what happened, I think. We'll put the tweets up on screen so you can actually see what happened, but this is our memory. So I think we were like,
it was a $1,700 bucks.
No, we'll fly out to Austin, set it up, and then we'll go out to San Francisco or something like that. And he's like, I can't tell if you're serious. And then you're like,
is that a challenge?
He can't tell if we're serious. So in comes Carver.
Watch the video. I'm carving.
Yes, sir. So you whip out your laptop. And this is like our friend Ais, who we just mentioned. He's in town.
He just gets into town.
He's like, boys, let's go out, let's have fun. But no, we gotta carve first because we can see the potential here. So Belky, you whip out your computer and you want to say what you do?
There's this little known fact about computers. It's probably because developers created this world we use on the interwebs. You can inspect source code. And when you inspect source code on a computer, you can change that said source code. So what we do, we're like, okay, this guy doesn't think we're serious. We're not, technically. So let me go into my email, pull up an old flight confirmation, go inspect the source code, and change all the dates, flight times, locations, everything so it makes sense. And we can screenshot it and send it. Boom. I'm like, Sam, I booked a ticket for Monday. See you then.
So now,
and at this point, he's on vacation in Hawaii.
So he's clearly just trying to enjoy his time in Hawaii, and he doesn't know the lions are coming for him. So we pop that up, and he just shoots back like a quick, like, I can't tell if this is serious. Like, he's basically the whole time he's just telling us, like, what the fuck is this? Are y'all crazy? Are y'all crazy? And
it's the second one.
Yeah, you're like, all right, Dylan, we got to double down. Because what you got to realize is we're shooting this stuff off, and it's so much tension. We're like, we're going to see if they bite. But we got to wait like an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, before they respond. So we have no idea. We're just shooting shit off into the ether. And then, boom, he comes back. I can't tell if you're serious. And then we hit him back. We're like,
another source code, right?
Another source code. Source code?
Sure.
Yeah. So Belky's like, let me carve up your computer, Dylan. So you come into my Gmail, you edit one of the flights, and you're like, oh, going to San Francisco. We get a real
Tuesday,
pretend flight.
The next day.
Right. We're like, we'll set yours up, whatever, Monday, and then Tuesday, yeah, we're there. And he's like, again,
he was getting kind of angry because he was like, are these guys going to show up at my house? Am I in jeopardy? Like, these guys are crazy. I just met him on the internet. And I think he hits us with another. This is probably like the third. I cannot tell if you're serious. To his credit, like, how could you tell? And then it's Sunday by that point. And I think that's when we were like, you know what? The only way to prove we're serious is to show him what we've done and that we're human beings, we're genuine people, and we can get it done.
Right, that's the beauty of video is it's as close to meeting in person as possible. Like, you can build so much rapport and trust just by showing your face versus just text. Because any Yantan can put out some text and it's like, yeah, I promise all these things. But Belky, we know our advantage here. We're dope editors. That's basically what we're trying to sell them long term. Yeah. Let's prove that we're dope.
Right.
So you have the idea.
We should link that video, right?
We're going to link everything, even including their response to all this stuff.
Right.
But
I think so I set out to make this video to basically show proof is in the pudding. Here's what our set looks like. Here's what it looked like 6 months ago. We can get this done in a day.
I don't know if we're properly conveying this fucking roller coaster ride that we were on. Dude, like, getting a response from these people who we idolize. We've been listening to them for months and months and months. And now we're getting interactions. We're like, fuck, dude. We got to seize the moment.
10x. Now. 10x.
So we're like, all right, it's our time to fucking shine. So you basically hit them back and you're like.
I think actually what was beautiful about the video, again, go watch it. The intro to that video is kind of this blooper sequence. Where like I'm this put together person on camera, but I've got you and David running around, and it actually did a really good job of showing authenticity. And then the next 2 minutes or 1 minute, whatever it was the pitch. And I was telling them exactly what gear they need, how I can build their set so it's one switch and fun to use. So there's no friction to recording, although this took us 20 minutes to set up today because we've been out of the game for so long. And we cranked that out. I said, Sam, I'll have this video for you by, you don't think I'm serious? Check your inbox at midnight. We did that. I went to bed and then, I don't know, you stayed up?
I think you posted it and I feel like they responded or there was like some response.
I woke up to the response from them.
Okay.
Shaan said yes.
Yeah.
Sam said, Alex, deal with this shit.
Right.
So he tells his social guy, Alex, handle this shit. Because he's trying to enjoy himself in Hawaii.
They respond that and then I'm like, oh, and you guys buckle up because tomorrow morning I'm hitting you with another heater. So.
And that heater was editing an old piece of their content to show them proof of
I went to a party.
Their content basically capability.
What they wanted was just build us a studio. We'll figure out the editing. That's what they're thinking. But we're like, we're going to build your studio. That's how we get our foot in the door. And then once we're there, we get the long term.
Tell them about your printer thing. Printers and ink?
I am my little printers and ink. This is one of those case studies. They're good case studies, right? Where I don't know who the fuck created the first printer, but printer companies back in the day.
It's got to be HP.
What? Okay, HP. Let's call it HP.
Maybe Canon. Printing photos.
Okay.
That's a deep dive.
So their model is basically this. They want the long term. You want your recurring revenue. That's why SaaS companies like HubSpot are worth $20 billion. They're just like great business models. They're just money machines. So you want the recurring revenue. So that means that they'll go in and they're going to sell you this printer basically at cost. They're like, let's just get the printers in all the houses. And once they have the printers, well, what do you need?
The expensive stuff.
You need the ink. You could go around squeezing squid
Can
to
you
get
guys
that
hear
ink.
us when we get down? Square did that too. Sorry, I couldn't finish that.
Square that's a good one.
Yeah.
Innovation Stack.
Yeah.
Little
Oh, there
reference.
you go. Square did the same thing. They sold their, $10 piece of. Sorry, they gave away their scanners for free, so that you would pay for that recurring subscription.
Right. Yeah, the little square. So yeah, that's the idea. We basically eat some of the cost up front.
A lot of cost, let me tell you.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But we eat the cost, and then bam, we're gonna long term just crush it because they need ink forever, and they're gonna pay significant money.
And people are going to see the shit they're printing.
Yeah.
Right? The opportunity, which is, again, we'll get to this in a second, but.
So let's go back now to my edit. So we're basically telling them, all right, we showed them we'll build a studio. Now we're gonna show them that we can edit their content and amazingly well, a way they've never seen before, and probably no one on the internet has seen.
Crazy.
I wasn't actually envisioning this. I'm like, oh, we'll do like a little interesting edit. Like we've done Twitter stuff before.
AJ, go.
This beast AJ, right? AJ, we just hired him like maybe a week or two into this.
Yeah.
He's literally fresh onto the team.
Still figuring out what the.
He has no idea what kind
of.
no fucking clue.
He's editing our old stuff from like November that was stuck in the queue.
We're gonna have a lot of shit in the queue. But AJ's like, all right, I've been editing some smart nonsense. I hear them referencing My First Million, and then Dylan comes to me and he's like, AJ, I need you right now. This is the time to step up. This is our favorite podcast. They're responding. I just need you to grind like all night as long as you can. Just create the coolest Twitter clip possible that's gonna grab their attention. And that was pretty much all the instruction I gave him. And originally I tried to have him edit one of their episodes, but it wasn't like super entertaining.
It's long, right?
It was shitty. And then I found on YouTube they had this really good this really good story that Sam tells of meeting the founder of Silk Road.
And here's a little hack. It was like their most popular video.
Right.
So a bunch of people had watched it. It was like 4 minutes. They had already clipped it. So it was 80% of finding their best piece of content.
Right. So bam, I'm like, all right, no, AJ, let's not do this actually. Sorry, I fucking wasted your time there. But let's quick switch to this cooler piece of content. And AJ's a beast. I give him literally no instructions. I'm like, I think this little hitch video could be relevant. Use it if you want. And let's see what we can do. And I just let the beast do the beast work. And we basically go to bed and we're like, we'll see what happens. We're kind of putting our trust in them. And we wake up to the fucking dopest edit we've ever seen. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I like to
All
think
around,
we're creative.
right? Well, I don't know.
I like to think it, but I realize that we are not. We should keep our mouths shut, well, maybe occasionally offer advice, but these editors that we have, and pretty much anyone that is a creative for their job, stop micromanaging them.
Yeah.
They're fucking incredible.
That's what I learned as a creative, and why I left the creative workforce so fast is it's infuriating to have your vision and then be halfway through that project and have someone like you to AJ be like, actually scrap that, I meant this. Or it's like, just find A+ artists and let them do what they do best.
Which, yeah, it is dependent on finding the A+ artists. We have a really good process for finding them, and now it's you just take everything I got. But yeah, that is the idea, is like find the A players, and we have this big company culture now. It's like, we're the A team. We only hire people that wow us. Like, that's the metric. When you see an applicant, if you don't audibly say wow, we're not hiring them.
Yeah.
And that's just created this A team that even ramps up, and we're like constantly impressed and learning new things from the new hires.
Dude, just speaking to myself, Ken is so good at what he does. I watch my vlog like 6 times a day.
I know. Oh, I forgot about that video too, dude. Oh, there's so much to this story. This is gonna be a long one.
What video?
The video that when we roasted, like the race video.
The race. I don't know what you're talking about.
The 200-meter race. That video.
Oh!
I know, dude. There's so much to this story.
Oh my God, Ken crushed it that week.
All right, easy. We'll get to it.
But basically, I'm blocking. I'm so excited. I'm blocking.
This has been a fucking roller coaster. But we dropped this video, okay? AJ crushes the edit. He fucking wows us, and we're like, oh my God, I can't imagine how they're gonna react. And we put it out, but all we hear are crickets.
Yeah, that's right. From your edit, right?
For hours.
You were freaking out too, because David and I were busy. You're getting no engagement.
Wow, I forgot, because you guys had a meeting for Dunbar.
Yeah, you were just
and
fuck, what the fuck?
Guys, I just put this out 20 minutes ago. This is the biggest opportunity of our lives, and there's literally no interaction.
I think I had already figured we had it in the bag, which is probably...
Dude, can't count your chickens.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
I was like, I'll just get to it in 10 minutes, but yeah.
I know, I was actually really upset.
Yeah, there was no response.
And so, luckily, y'all finish your meeting or whatever, hop on, kind of start interacting with it, and then somehow... Wait. I don't even think they interacted with it. Oh.
I think part of the problem too is I couldn't gauge how upset you were. First of all, my phone was off. I couldn't gauge how upset you were because you weren't here.
Yeah.
I was just, and David was distracted.
This whole, basically the whole approach here, like what we did super well, and I guess we're kind of spoiling what happens, but it's pretty obvious. It's just blitz. Blitz the fuck out of them. You want to blitzkrieg.
To bring it all full circle, right? Mm-hmm. The opportunity is there. Sprint, pounce, strike.
Right, you can picture your who's that guy that rolls the ball up the hill? Sisyphus. So if you're going at a slow pace, you're always going to be at a standstill. You're just constantly exerting effort, but you're not getting anywhere. You're going to sprint up the fucking hill.
Wait a minute. Pull it up right now. I want you to watch it. If we're just leaning into the length of this vlog, this is big.
What we got?
Go on YouTube and search Casey Neistat life. It's a 20-second video of him on that third one down. Life explained in 27 seconds. Now watch this. He's on a walking treadmill in an airport.
Life is like going the wrong way on a... Wait,
go back.
On a moving sidewalk. He's in an airport on those.
So he's walking slowly, but he's just in the same spot. Walk and you stay put. Stand still and you go backwards. He's going backwards. To get ahead, you have to hustle. And he's sprinting the wrong way on the moving sidewalk. That's exactly what you're talking about.
You're never going to get off of that unless you sprint.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are just like, they're used to kind of that linear approach. They're like, just over time, we'll build value. And we even saw this with Shaan's tweet recently. It's like, it's just you have these occasional fucking opportunities and you just crush it. And that's how you get off the treadmill. That's how you get to the fucking top of the mountain.
And they don't all hit, but it's like if only some percent are going to hit, then you just have to take more shots. Like what, are we going to craft the perfect tweet and like the perfect email airplane ticket fake and like the perfect edit and then AJ like, oh, the thumbnail was... No, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
So yeah, we put it out. I forget if they interacted. I don't remember, but I
sometime later they picked up your tweet and retweeted it.
So basically this is what I remember. I remember not much interaction. I think Shaan said... Was it Shaan that said yes, or was that to yours?
So on mine, Shaan says yes.
Okay.
Sam says handle this shit.
Okay. We had nothing.
Yours got retweeted.
Let's assume that we had nothing. All I see like a few hours after we post, I get a DM. From Shaan.
Oh, that's
Puri.
right. That's right.
Let me read that because I also want to see if they interacted at all.
I think he retweeted it and said like, "This is dope."
Yeah, they didn't even interact with my tweet at all in the beginning. No, I had nothing.
Seriously?
I had literally nothing from them.
And he just came to your DMs.
And so all I get, we'll put up the screenshot, but I get Shaan rolling into my DMs.
I thought they retweeted your edit and said like, this is sick. Doesn't much matter.
Doesn't much matter. This is all I remember. So he says, yo, love the videos. Tell me about y'all. Who are you? What made you reach out? What do you want out of this?
And we're like,
My motorboating ourselves. That shit was fucking crazy. We're like, this is what we talked about with Ian way back when he was on, I don't know, episode 43 or something like that.
I got DM'd by my boss.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
he's like, Twitter, I had my boss DM me. He reached out offering the job. And now this is exactly what happens. Yeah. We just seized the fucking moment, grabbed it by the balls, and now they're coming to us and like, hey, this is dope. What the fuck do you want to do? So now we're tweaking. All right, we're like, we don't want to simp out here and just try and rationalize, like, we don't want to be stupid. Let's play our cards right. So we go into my little notes on the Mac, and we're all colluding. I was working with David.
Oh, that's right.
I was like, let's craft a good response. But it's like,
but we're trying to figure out the tone.
Right.
Are we busy tech guys? Are we like college students that are super stoked to be talking to? Like, what's the formality here?
Who are you? What made you reach out? What do you want out of this?
All lowercase letters. And we're like, all right, brevity.
All right. And he spelled fucking what wrong. So, it's like super quick. This is how people interact. And we've seen it before with Seth Godin when you've been corresponding with him. That's right. So you're just like, all right, people that have a lot of value, just have a lot of shit going on. They're just going to hit you with what you need and not too much.
You don't need all the fluff.
So I had a fuckload of fluff.
Right. Okay. But look, like right here, Shaan's already made the decision. He's like, I will work with these guys. They're dope.
Just don't be stupid.
You don't need all the fluff. Yeah. Just don't be annoying. Don't take up all my time. Don't give me all this jargon. I can't even understand what you're saying.
This is one thing too, with your original vlog, it was very like, this is me. This is my truck. This is everything about Henry. And ultimately you got to think.
That's right.
You're in Sam's shoes. What does he care about?
That's right.
Can you build my fucking studio?
Right. So I had a 6-minute video of like half fluff about myself, kind of showing I was genuine or whatever, and I can get the job done. We cut that down to 2 minutes of just value.
Right.
And all that stuff I was saying about myself resonated through that intro scene.
Dude, that might be the most brilliant hook we've had.
Is lucky.
Really lucky. It was just fucking goofy.
Really lucky.
And so, yeah, that's the idea. It's like, all right.
That's the dumb luck.
Let's just cut to the fucking point. David was like, this shit's too try hard. Just cut out all the weak shit. And I hit him back. I'm like, yo, trying to be informal.
Yo, thanks for the love.
Yo, thanks for the love. Brown 19 best friends, obsessed with making smart content cool. Built a team for our channels and a YouTuber from the game, a fucking dating book. I just basically explained like where we heard of them really quick to the point. We're like, we love your podcast.
MFM to the moon.
And we heard on the podcast, they want to 10x this shit. They want to be a top 10 business podcast. We're like, let's take your podcast to the fucking moon. Oh, wow. We left all that shit out, dude.
The tattoo, the moon, the bets.
I think this is the unique angle that really made us stand out. Because our content's dope, but we need something that's fucking like seared
memorable
in their memory, right? And so people have brands and their brands
Oh my God, it was the sexy little Bible verse.
When was that? I forget when that was.
I said, I'm going to get MFM to the moon tattooed in cursive on my wrist like crazy. A sexy little Bible verse. That was like, I think the final straw when Sam was like, I do not know if you're serious.
Right.
And then we made the video. You got to link all this, man.
God, yeah, that's kind of why I wanted the chronology. It's been a couple weeks since this happened, but it's fucking crazy. So that's the point. We hit him back
says,
with
let's do it.
Yeah, he's like, let's do this, fire. And actually, right before that, I got this message from Abreu, who's the assistant. Where is he? Abreu. Abreu. Oh, does he add both of us?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah,
Yo, guys,
yeah.
The videos are dope. Shaan and Sam wanted me to reach out and do a trial period where you guys edit videos for the pod. Down.
So boom.
Bam.
Got the job.
That's the thing. And we know once we're in the fucking door, we are the best video podcast editors in the world. Our talent is so fucking good, no one can compete with us. And
we haven't figured out smart nonsense, but
hey, that shit gonna come. So now we're fucking stoked. Like we are like, oh my God, this shit is fucking happening. And so we start, there's Abreu just messaging me. And so we start tweaking out. And next thing, we go back to Shaan.
I think he calls us.
He's basically, we'll kind of try and get to the point. He's like, yo, let's set up a call. I want to know about y'all and what you're doing, just like getting more detail. And so we're fucking tweaking. We're like, dude, we listened to this guy for so long, and now he wants to talk to us.
And not just that, he's like, I'll call you in 5.
Right.
5 minutes.
So we're like, fuck, let's do this shit. We hop on, we set up our mics to sound at least kind of good. And he's like, guys, what's your story? We kind of get into it. And he's like, I fucking love what you're doing. It's so rare. Actually, I love this. I want to read this out loud.
Well, he told us 2 really important things on that call.
Oh, fuck.
What do you want to read out loud?
Well, I want to read, this is before the call actually happened. I think we had heard them mention, they mentioned it in the podcast. They're like, who the fuck are these guys?
Because you got the trial edit.
This was before, I heard it on the trial, I guess. Yeah, like the first thing we
made
edited,
the intro of like tomorrow's like the next episode
actually,
coming out.
I have the Twitter clip. We made the Twitter clip from that episode, but they never released it. I think it was just too late or whatever. Or was promoting us, and they're like, we're getting a lot of DMs because our content's dope, and they shout us out. But I'm like, yo, thanks for the shout out on the pod. And he's like, haha, yeah, I'm impressed with y'all's hustle and skills. So many people reach out, and they all are so meh. So I love the top 1% who reach out and you can tell are great. Yeah, he's basically like, everyone fucking sucks. You guys stand out. Let's get on the phone and talk.
Right.
So
and not to be like an ego trip, but we just pride ourselves in just taking massive action.
Because we can. And this is kind of what I was saying before is like, so many people are caught up in their fucking hustle and they're working 60-hour weeks. They're just tired, dude. They're tired.
Grazing.
And yeah, they're
Back
grazing all
metaphor.
day. And you can't have that explosive energy that you need to blitz. And so we went fucking blitz mode.
But he calls us, and I think 2 really important things happen. And I relayed this to my audience on the vlog.
This is going to be such a long story, dude. There's so much.
I know. I want to like call someone after this and see if they can relay the entire plot back. But what he tells us, and I think this is important if you're still here listening, he says, 1, I want to commend you guys for what you're doing. I want to tell you more people should be doing that. It is a viable career option. You can be an entrepreneur. You can hustle and make a living doing that. So keep doing that.
I think, well, I would even take it one step farther and further, technically. He's like, when I was doing this, everyone was telling me like, hey, this shit, you shouldn't be doing it. Like, he wanted to be a doctor. He went to Duke, pretty good school. They rejected me. He's like, I want to be a doctor. But then I went and did this fucking cloud kitchen sushi thing, and it was just fun. And then he went on this like whole journey. But everyone was telling him he's on the wrong path. He shouldn't be doing that. He's Indian, so he's like, family's
His parents, yeah.
It's just,
reassurance that.
But he's like, hey, I'm your reassurance. I'm here. I'm telling you, you are on the right path. Do what you're fucking doing because it's going to make you incredibly successful.
Yeah. And I just want to like extend that to all the hustlers that are listening. Like, just keep hustling.
It's so fucking motivating. Because we've been at this together with pretty much 6 months of no real traction.
Right.
Because no one's listening to Smart Nonsense, relatively speaking.
Right.
Few people were watching your vlogs. I'm still going to beat you to 1,000. Watch the fuck out. But now is the first time where we're getting attention. They're sharing our stuff.
I think I told you.
You had 15,000 views on your
Yeah, and I think I
clip.
told you. I was like, wow, for once in the 6 months of just doing this for ourselves, it finally feels like we're on an uptick.
Mm-hmm.
Like people actually value what we're doing.
That's why it's the long game. You got to be patient with this shit and fucking seize the day. So his second point, I guess you want to say the second point.
His second point was like, I'm going to take you under my wing and kind of give you those opportunities and be that parent that's reassuring you that this is okay and you can do it.
Dude.
Because like, frankly, love my parents, but they don't understand. They don't understand this.
And you can't. If you were born before us, literally before, like we're the first generation with these crazy internet opportunities that the resume is dead. We've said it forever. It's just fucking, we had no resume here. They saw the Smart Nonsense content. They saw the proof of concept.
Right, dude. Like my mom, for instance, doesn't even understand why I would want to make public videos and put myself out there like that. Let's talk about that in a second. And like to mom on that point, it's like none of this happens if I wasn't doing that for 6 months. Luke, another good friend, he probably is listening to this. What did he tell you like 9 months ago? He's like, why am I just watching Henry hammer wood?
Right. He saw you building the studio, literally building the studio, which you reference later. But you're building the studio. He's like, what the fuck? Why do I care about this? And this is why you care. You can't in the moment fucking connect the dots. It's that Steve Jobs, Stanford commencement address. You can't connect the dots going forward, only looking back. And so we're just throwing a lot of fucking dots out there, and we know they're gonna connect.
That may have actually been the most important part of the video. Here is how good our set and editing looks like right now. And 6 months ago, this place was empty. So that's why I was hammering wood for 6 months. I can't say that's why I was, but look what that allowed us to do.
And that's why we have the binge bank. And it's funny because Shaan is referencing, he's like, it's a fucking catchy
with
phrase.
his blog post, right?
Right. He's like, just have the binge bank, etc. So,
and it was cool. We've been talking about the binge bank a lot on this podcast. It was cool as people started being pointed to my YouTube channel through these guys that they were actually reaching out to me saying they spent all weekend binging my content. I was like, you're telling me something we thought in June would be the case when, someone was finally looking at us is actually happening?
It's like you don't believe it until it happens and you're like, oh, it's obvious.
Obviously.
But
no.
I mean, you can listen back to our podcast and this has been our mentality forever. And it's just a matter of time and now the fucking time hits. So he's like, and I can't stress this enough. This is like a fucking crazy roller coaster. And now we're like, this person believes in us. They want to invest in us. They're like, y'all are crushing it. And we talk for another 30, 40 minutes just on his ideas of what we can execute. Because he's never seen people execute like this before.
Yeah.
It's like, you have such a rare gift. I want to be in your life as much as possible because I know you're going to crush it. Mm. So from there, we pretty much start arranging. We're like, hey, this is all the equipment y'all need. And we're just like, yo, fuck it. We'll just fly out. Like, we'll eat all the costs for this travel. Fuck it. Just pay for the equipment. We'll set it up. We'll sell you the printer at cost. And then we'll see what we do with the editing. And
I think that's it. We went to Shaan's. We set it up.
Dude, that's not it.
Okay. Then we get up to HubSpot.
Well, easy. So I'm saying, like, dude, I think people just gotta be fucking spontaneous. Like, most people would weigh like the pros and cons. They're like, I don't have $1,000 to spend on this right now. Go into fucking debt. Yeah. Put it on the credit card. This is such an opportunity that's so rare. Just go to San Francisco. I've never been there. We had the fucking time of our life. It was I don't think I've laughed harder.
We laughed really hard.
Literally years.
Because I started assuming this character that was in cahoots. Sorry, I was challenging Sam Parr on Twitter. And we were just in our hotel room with nothing to do, just laughing hysterically at how I was busting Sam's chops on Twitter.
Oh, dude, and we
got to link all that
There's
stuff.
one time too, because
the bomb.
Yeah, the bomb. Like, Belky's like, we pitched this one switch, like one quick fucking one button setup. So like, basically, you hit one button and everything just lights turn on, cameras start rolling, everything. But he gets this fucking switch that looks like you're blowing up a nuclear bomb. It's like
it's a red nuke button with a key to make it accessible.
Yes, sir.
And I had to strip all the wires, so there's just loose wires everywhere.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know how it came up, but I tweeted a picture of it. I was like, Sam, fuck your setup. We're going to Shaan's. It's going to be better. This is his one switch thing, by the way. And then 30 seconds go by, and we're like, they don't know who we are.
They have no idea. Yeah,
that looks like a nuclear bomb.
If you listen in the podcast, Sam was legitimately worried. He's like, are they gonna show up at my house?
I don't think
he was actually nervous, and Shaan's like, no, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, but Shaan definitely understood us.
We're basically like, hey guys, hopefully you trust us enough. This shit isn't actually a bomb.
No. The way we doubled down was we said, just to be in another tweet, just to be clear, this is not a bomb, which is exactly what you would say if it were a bomb.
It's just fucking crazy, and we had a roller coaster there because we thought we had this whole setup in mind, and then Shaan's like, yo guys, I actually want to make this fucking 10 times doper than we thought before, and we're struggling.
And we didn't putz, we just leaned in.
We're just like, all right, let's
get it done.
With it. And
get it done.
We grinded. There was a lot of fucking issues, but we just problem solved. We figured it the fuck out. Shaan had this, like, we talked to him for an hour just about so many important lessons. Actually, I have my
just an hour of
I'll try
wisdom.
and summarize, but basically some of his lessons to us, it's like, pick the right business model. Pick something that has leverage and scales. Like right now, agency, it's a good model. It'll get you to tens of millions of dollars.
Because doctor works just as hard as the convenience store worker. Mm-hmm. You work just as hard as a landscaper. So pick the model that will give you the most output for your input.
Yeah, so constantly just take all these learnings and apply them to business, and you can figure out the model that works best, because it's so critical. Because he's basically shitting on Sam and how he picked trends, which probably wasn't the best. You want to go like B2B, charge a much higher price. It was just fascinating hearing his breakdown of things. He kind of got into his Twitter thread about why Clubhouse is going to fail. I think your biggest takeaway from that conversation was, hey, we're playing the long game. You don't actually measure your success until 30.
I think that's what so many listeners of this need to hear. This is when I put down the drill and I listen.
Yeah. This is Belky. Belky's always like, one of my issues with him is there are times in life where you got to realize it is important to put down the fucking drill and just listen. Have a conversation. The reason why we are there is for his mentorship, his guidance, his wisdom. Belky, do not fucking drill this light in the ceiling.
I had to do something really loud.
And you do this a lot. So I'm like, thank God you are putting this down. And so you
I kept
listen
picking
for a
it
reason.
up and then I put it back down. But the reason I listened, it was a delicate balance of listening to Shaan's wisdom and also getting this done. Oh, wrapping it up in 2 minutes.
Oh, fuck.
What was I going to say?
I'm just going to say,
what was I going to say? I'll say it.
30 years old. You measure
okay. Here's the deal. If you're in this field, we're taking score. Let's say, we want to be financially independent or retired by 30. We're taking score at 30 years old. Who said we're taking score at 23 and a half? What? Like, you just got out of college for 6 months. We're taking score at 30. Delay all that gratification. Optimize for people and relationships and trust. And at 30, let's take score. But he said, spend all this time now learning and building skills. That shit compounds. Compounds.
Confit.
Right? So that was my big one is what's the rush? We're 23. We'll take score at 30.
Yeah. So we'll try and recap because I do have a meeting for the other client. But basically, we go back. We start crushing their edits. The team, we just give them free reign. I literally don't tell them anything. I've just kind of been making sure their grammar's right, but that's about it.
Also, you're working for free. They're like, Dylan, let us sign a contract. Let us pay you. Come on.
They're literally DMing me I think they don't want to get hooked before knowing the price, but I'm like, no, you don't even know what this system going to be. So I'm like, let's just keep waiting. Then I'm going to sell them the fucking ink for a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we've been doing. We're almost a month in and we still haven't charged them anything, but that's fine because the size of the deal is going to be fucking insane. And not only did we get their attention, My First Million, dope podcast, a lot of potential there, but we got the big dogs looking at us now. We have the people basically who Sam sold his company to at HubSpot, basically the director of marketing for HubSpot, which is fucking insane. He's watching our content. He's watching our fucking edits, and some of our edits have gotten hundreds of thousands of views, 100,000 plus. And they're basically like, we want this everywhere. Mm-hmm. We want as much as possible. And so the whole last couple of weeks, it's just been negotiating with them what the deal is going to be. But long story short, they want to take what we've done for My First Million and apply it to all their upcoming podcasts, which it could be 10 podcasts. And then who knows what other video content they have beyond that. But it's something that will seriously...
To tie it up, this all goes back to me hammering wood last June and you hiring Erica. The rest is just innovation stack adding value.
Yeah. I'm going to have something where it's the summary is from unemployed to millionaire in a year. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's possible.
We'll check in.
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
That's all we got. The diary entry.
Maybe I'll make this shit on time.
Yeah, why not? Why don't you subscribe? Go find this on YouTube. Hit, I don't even know if you have a Dylan at Smart Nonsense email anymore. If they want to say anything.
That shit flooded. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Okay, I'll say real quick. What's awesome is I like this. Shaan was like, don't optimize for money, optimize for people. We optimize for people. We want to work with them. And now the opportunities are fucking everywhere. We're getting DMs of people now we basically set our monthly minimum for people of $15,000 a month. If you're not willing to spend that, we're just not going to work with you. And then bam, people are still engaging. And we have a lot of these fucking DMs. It's crazy.
Carpe diem.
I don't know, man. Just work with people and we're getting free distribution on all of this.
You know what my mom's first comment was when we got back? She said, well, you need to get paid for all that. And I was like, no, I don't.
You still haven't.
We're taking score at 30. I still haven't gotten paid, reimbursed. She means paid for the labor, but no, we're taking score at 30. The $1,500 it took to get to San Francisco, a rounding error. And I have no money and it's a rounding error.
I just want to say, I had a bunch of lessons. Maybe I'll check those real quick. But yeah, I think what's funny is we've had friends that shit on us kind of implicitly about our lifestyles, what we're doing, why the fuck we're this crazy. They almost don't want to be around us because it's just, It's so crazy.
We've been described as unstable.
Right.
Yeah.
And man,
Yeah.
I don't know what could be more stable than whatever. The point is, like, we kind of have this little vengeance sort of retribution mindset too, which is super motivating. Maybe not the healthiest thing, but it's like, it's just super fucking cool. We want to prove a lot of people wrong, and we are doing it right now.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to just like I think Seneca says it, where it's like luck is just.
Are you going opportunity? Luck
is
is
just when preparation meets opportunity. And so we've been preparing for months and months and months, and now the opportunity arises, and it looks like we got lucky,
overnight success.
but it's fucking not.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big one.
That's it.
That
Just
was my video.
fucking-
Tag that video. I got lucky or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's that
We're gonna
exact
do
thing.
everything. Whoever's editing this, I don't know, because all editors
need
I
another
use,
editor.
We're gonna have a fucking 30-person team
All
editing.
right, I'm out of here.
God damn. All right.
See ya.
Peace.